I had a sticker note here that I remember I wrote it down this morning at 7:29 a.m. The reason I wanted to share with you because the note says Pope Francis opened 2025 Jubilee Year of Hope on Christmas Eve Mass at St. Peter's Square. If you experienced or if you saw me this morning at 5:05 a.m. this morning, you would not see who I am now. I have to admit that I went through an hour or so of transformation this morning. I went to bed at 7:45 p.m. last night. And in one of the texts that Deacon Lucho and I had yesterday, at the end I said, late afternoon when I returned the text to him, I said, Lucho, I haven't had a day off for almost 3 weeks. And I was running errands until about 6 p.m. last night for this weekend, and so on. So by 7:45 p.m. I was in bed. And another thing added on to was that a very good friend of mine who, since he and his wife retired from school, teaching in school, they've been so involved in the church, in their own parish. And as usual, he helped set up for the Christmas Eve Mass and so on at their parish. And on his way home to get ready to come back for the Mass and so on, he got into an accident. And thanks God that there was no injury, but the truck was total. So for the whole week, I myself, of course, also been going through so many things around here. I said to myself last night, I'm done. And of course, these written notes here, I printed out yesterday, getting ready for this morning. But I said to myself, what am I going to share with the parishioners this morning? As I said, I woke up at 5:05 this morning. If you saw me, I was a different person. This morning before Mass, I was greeting many of you. I was even singing along the music, was practicing here. So the reason is here, this morning as usual, I had coffee and then doing my morning prayer. And then I went through my personal emails in which I subscribe to a number of magazines. There's been quite a few of them that I have not been able to read in the last couple of weeks or so. So I was able to do so. I ran into 2 articles. It was about Pope Francis. And one of which was, of course, the article about him opening the Jubilee 2025 year, a year of hope. And another article was about his visit to Corsica, an island that still belonged to France. And in that it says that in secular France today, there's only 20% of the population. France used to be 100% Catholic, just like Belgium. And now there's only 20% of French population identify themselves as Catholics. But on the other hand, outside the continent France, Corsica, there's 80 to 85% of them identify themselves as Catholics. So there is, of course, a contrast, but also the article talks about the movement of renewed spirit, about hope, about there's meaning in life out there. And so those 2 articles trigger my mind that there is still goodness beside my own despair in the last 24 hours or so. The gospel reading today, as I tried to share with you at the beginning when we church heard that the shepherd, they were ordinary human beings, just like all of us. They peasants, they farmers. They were the ones who lived their life in Jesus' time, or at the time in which Jesus was born. They were just ordinary people. And one of the questions I asked about this feast of Mary, Mother of Jesus and Mother of God, is why at this time, whichever years Jesus was born, most likely the year of 6 BC, whichever year that was, why was Jesus born on that year, in that moment, and so on? Of course, we do not have the ultimate answer. God will tell us the day will come, or another time when we are revealed by God, why. But at least for me, as I asked this question this morning, there might be other times in which God sent His Son, or God revealed Himself in the person of Jesus. But God did at that very moment. Not that people was not living, but it also just tells us that just like us today, 2,000 years or so later, when Jesus was born, people too, in every moment of their lives, or at any particular times in their own lives, there were people who struggled. There were people who living in despair. But unlike any other prophets who were born before Jesus, God sent Jesus to us as a definitive mark of time in history, in human history, so that we can look back, and for all of those people before Jesus could look forward. And for us to look back, just like this past year, also for us to look forward, to see there is hope for all of us, hope for humanity, and hope for the world. This morning, as I mentioned before, we ordained minister. We gave Deacon Randy a set of the Office of Readings, 5 volumes. I said morning prayer, and the canticle, the antiphon for the canticle of Zechariah, which is for the morning. And I've been praying I've been doing the office, divine office in German. So as usual, I read, but the canticle in German struck my mind once again. So I looked into the English translation, and I wanted to share with you here. Marvelous is the mystery proclaimed today. Human nature is made new as God becomes human. He remains what He was and becomes what He was not. Yet each nature stays distinct and forever undivided. So there was a few things that helped me change the course of my despair moments and lack of hope, lost of all of that until just about 7:30 or so. The moment of transformation helps me to go on. And trust me, you probably don't want to see a despair priest and the despair pastor speaking in front of you. But that was 5 a.m. Now it is little after 10, and we all can be assured that God, in every moment of history and also in every moment of our lives, is ahead of us, beside us, and inside us. Of course, the grasp of hope and of joy cannot be taken for granted. We have to reach out. We too have to make that personal. Reach out to receive the grace that is there for us. As we begin this new year, I also, by the way, I walked around early this morning. This book, I don't know whoever it belonged to, but it was right at the stable of over there. So I'm going to leave it here. So if it belonged to someone, feel free to get it after Mass. But it is the Word among us. And the title of this is for, of course, the month of January, February, and March, Walking the Path of hope, reflecting on Pope Francis' message to all of us. Hope and joy to each and every one of us, each and every one of human being, for humanity and for the world. Mary took that moment of hope and joy to show us God's moment of history to save us. Let us once again renew that spirit of hope.